Kindle kids.
It's the Kindle kids.
First time I'm trying it tonight.
Hi guys. So, this is Original Edition, Chapter 3, Section 4, Miracles as Accurate Perception. Okay. So what we're going to be talking about tonight is what is accurate perception? What does it mean when you're seeing things the way they are? What does it mean when you are seeing things correctly? Okay, what is accurate perception? The first thing that our teacher tells us is that when you see things correctly, it's a miracle. Okay, that's the first thing. Yeah, that's right. When I'm seeing anything correctly, it's a miracle. Okay. Now, why is it that we don't tend to see things correctly? Because we are choosing fear a lot of the time. We're afraid a lot of the time. And when you're afraid, literally, the lens through which you are seeing is very distorted. The Course in Miracles calls fear or guilt or anger, anything not loving, he calls it a dark glass that you are looking into. As if you're looking into like a smoky, cloudy mirror. And you're looking into it and thinking that you're seeing what's really there. But if you're looking into a smoky, cloudy mirror, how accurate are you going to be? How accurate are you going to be seeing what it's reflecting? Are you going to be seeing an accurate reflection of reality? No, you're going to be seeing one that's distorted. You know, or another metaphor for what fear shows you is what you might see in a horror house, not in a horror house, but one of those mirrors. What do you call those mirrors?
Mirrors.
Thank you. Where the mirrors are wavy and so it's all distorted, and you look short or you look, tall. So if you are experiencing fear or guilt or anything that's not loving, then you are not seeing correctly according to this curriculum, according to this teacher. Okay? And the reason the Course says is that you are not seeing correctly things the way they are if you're experiencing anything but peace and love and joy is because the nature of reality as created by God, according to A Course in Miracles, could only fill you with supreme joy. You could only be experiencing joy if you saw reality as it is, as it was created by the source of reality. So the Course in Miracles says that reality was created by God. God is only love, which means God is only joy, which means God is only peace. Okay? And so that's the nature of reality. What do you mean the nature of reality? Meaning that's what everything is. That's what you are. That's what everything is. That's what everything means. That's what everything is for. But when we look at the world and we look at each other and we look at ourselves, is that all we see? Love, peace, and joy? So the Course says if you look at something or somebody or yourself and it doesn't fill you with joy and gratitude, guess what? You're not seeing what's there. You are not seeing reality. All you're seeing is what you have projected onto that body, that thing, that event, or yourself. Okay, so that's a basic principle in A Course in Miracles. Reality is established by God, the creator of reality, and God is only love and peace and joy, and so that's all reality is. And if that's not what you're seeing, you're not seeing correctly. Okay, so then what does that mean? That means if you do look at something in the world or another in yourself, and you see love and peace and joy, and what you see fills you with joy, that's when you know, okay, I'm seeing correctly. Yay, I'm seeing correctly. That's how you can tell whether you're seeing correctly. That's your guide. Your guide for seeing. Okay? That's how you know, according to A Course in Miracles. Okay, so given that, is there anything today that occurred that you know you did not see correctly? Is there anybody today that you know you did not see correctly? Is there anybody you looked at today and you were like, oh, ew?
Or like if somebody behaved badly and I might have behaved badly back when I should have seen it as a call for love.
Yes.
as being what it was.
That's right.
Instead of an attack and a counterattack.
Exactly, exactly. So if you're looking at something and it seems unloving, the Course says if you're seeing it correctly, then you'll see through what's unloving to the love and the call for love behind it. Okay? So when you look at something and it's not peaceful, it's not happy, it's not joyous, and you see the call for love behind it, then you are seeing it correctly. And then when you see that correctly, when you see through the mask of fear and anger, and you see through the mask of fear and anger to the love that really is behind it, then what that is a miracle. And what you'd be saying to yourself is, wow, that's a miracle. That's a miracle. I didn't believe what my eyes were telling me, and I sent my vision through the mask to what I've been told by love is behind that mask. And I saw the love that's really there, and guess what happened? The mask fell away, their mask fell away, and so does yours. And you say, wow, that's a miracle. This person who I might have wanted to strangle or run away from, all of a sudden I have all this love for. And wow, look at me. These things that I was hating myself for and feeling guilty about, I don't feel that way. I feel forgiveness for myself now. And you go, wow, that's a miracle. So according to A Course in Miracles, when you see accurately, when you see things the way they are, the way things were established by love, by God, then you receive a miracle. Meaning something happens where you go, that is a miracle. Meaning things that bend and rearrange the laws of space and time. So basically, any miracle in any painful, negative, fearful, scary, limiting situation, in any one of those situations, a miracle, an absolute miracle, is as close as an accurate perception. Wow, okay, whoa. So, a miracle is just as close as my ability and willingness to see it another way. Wow, that's what it's going to take to transform this situation from something terrifying into something beautiful. Just a willingness to see it another way. Just a willingness to go, I wonder what this looks like through love's eyes. But a miracle is that close, always, to whatever you're experiencing that's frightening you or that's painful. Isn't that beautiful? That's hard to believe, isn't it? Until you try it. And then you're convinced. So, is there anything tonight that you would like another way of seeing? Is there anything that you've got going on right now that you would like to have a different perception of, an accurate perception of? Whatever it is, I want you to bring it to your awareness, because we're going to use it tonight. So whatever I read tonight, I want you to apply that, whatever you hear, to that situation. Okay? Because what you're going to hear tonight is another way of looking at that thing that has filled you with fear, so that you can see it accurately, meaning according to reality, and experience a lifting of the pain or the fear. You see it another way, experience a miracle. Isn't that amazing that any miracle is just as close as a willingness to see it another way? To see it through the eyes of love. Like, for instance, I would like to see what the Middle East looks like through the eyes of love. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. That is something that, as I watch it on the news, I'm filled with horror. Right? And so when I hear myself say, hey, anything, no matter how horrible it is, if you look at it accurately, you can experience a miracle. I'm like, oh, that sounds nice, except for the Middle East. Right? I'm like, yeah, but, what are all those dead bodies on the road? Yeah, but, you know, what about that massacre, you know? And so I would like to apply it to that tonight. Yeah, let me just go ahead and apply it to the most difficult thing first, because I'm just that way. But whatever it is whatever you are experiencing or seeing right now that is fearful, painful, let's use that tonight to see if we can see it accurately, meaning according to the loving reality, and then see what happens. See what kind of miracles we can experience in that area. Sound like a good goal? All right.
Well,
Okay.
what I heard through all of that is always when you say call for love, in my mind I interpret that as someone asking for my love. And what I got was, no, that is not. They are calling me to love.
Nice.
To perceive through love.
Very nice.
Because that's who really needed it, not them, but
Right.
me.
Exactly.
And I never realized before that that was really to bring me out of my fear.
Exactly.
It was a gift to me, not a demand for
Exactly. Exactly. And they're also calling for the love that they are, but that they forgot. You know, someone who's suffering, angry, sad, hurt, grieving, they don't know that they are love. They have forgotten that they are love and only love. They don't know that. They do, they don't know that. And so they're really calling for the love that they've forgotten that they are too. I don't feel lovable. That's why I'm sad. That's why I hurt. That's why I'm pissed off. I don't feel lovable. And I don't know why. And who did it to me? Right? So if when you experience somebody who's hurt or somebody who's angry or aggressive and you see reality, that means you're going to be seeing through the mask, behind the mask, to the person who is love but forgot it. And they don't know they are. And it hurts. They don't feel loving. They don't feel lovable. They don't know their love, and it hurts. Right? Now that's accurate perception. And accurate perception produces a miracle such that they can be totally in their wrong mind, totally in pain and grief. I see the call for love behind it, and then the pain disappears. And all of a sudden, they experience peace and joy in my presence. That's a miracle. Why? And how did that happen? Just because I saw accurately, meaning I didn't let my sight stop at the outside form of their distress. I didn't let my vision stop there. I let my vision go right beyond it because I let the truth tell me that the nature of everything and the nature of everyone is love. That's what the Course taught me. That is reality. That is the nature of reality. That is the universe. Bar none, no exception. And so now I could have true vision in any situation. I could be not fooled by anything because I've learned the true nature. And if I'm not seeing love, joy, and peace, then I know I'm not seeing correctly. I'm being deceived by the form. I'm being deceived by the form that the love is hiding in.
So what's that about when my desire to see correctly runs out?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
at time number 305.
Yes. Right. Yes.
I don't want to see it anymore.
That's right. You don't want to look for it anymore.
I don't want to look for it.
I'm so tired. Because when I did look for the love, they didn't appreciate it. Right.
So what's going on in me when that happens?
Exactly. Good chance then you need to start looking for the call for, you need to look through your own ego for the call for love within you. If time to stop looking out there to try to find it and look within to see beyond your own ego to the call for love and love within you. That's my best guess. Yeah. Does that fit?
Sure.
Okay, all right. Any other questions?
What a valuable gift. It's one of those things you have to receive it before you can give it.
That's right.
And so you get it first.
Exactly.
And after you give it, probably you experience it even more.
Exactly. Then you're convinced. So like from what I understand about how, you know, great healers and saints have healed people, you know, we hear about Jesus like raising the dead and curing the blind and curing leprosy. According to this, the way that that teacher healed their body miraculously is that they didn't see the sick body. That's how accurate their perception was. Can you imagine looking at somebody whose form is distorted and they're sick and they're angry, and you literally don't even see their sickness? So when somebody looks at something and doesn't see a sick body, all they see is a beautiful and innocent child of love, then guess what happens? Miracles. Miracles. That's how Jesus healed the sick and raised the dead. He didn't see a sick body. He saw a mind. He saw a loving and innocent, deserving being, soul, that was still entitled to love, that had just forgotten what it was. And so he didn't even see his sick body, and then the sick body, plunk, healed.
So where does denial come into that? Not to be negative, but...
Well, you know, in this case, you know, teachers like Jesus or whoever is healed like that, they were using the correct form of denial. They were denying the reality of anything not of love. So he was using denial correctly. He was saying, look, only love is real. If that ain't loving, it ain't real, period. Wow. So that's the correct use of denial. Okay? Wow. That's so incredible that miracle working is about seeing accurately, accurate perception. And accurate perception comes from just a desire for it. It comes from remembrance of the true nature of all reality and a desire for it. Why would you have a desire for it? Because what I'm seeing is hurting me. You know, what I've been seeing on the news in the Middle East is painful. You know, and so I desire another way of looking at that. I desire accurate perception of that. And that's what I'm asking for tonight. So another way of asking for accurate perception is to say, okay, love, what does this look like through your eyes? Because that's all love sees. Love only sees love. Right? Love only sees the eternal. Love only sees the deathless. And so we want to see the world as love does, not through the eyes of fear anymore. The world as seen through the eyes of fear, that's the world we see right now. Okay? So sometimes I go, I wonder what the world would look like through loving eyes. And the Course says you would see another world. And the Course says there's the real world that exists right beside this one. There is heaven, the real world, existing simultaneously with this one, and you don't see it. And I was like, I mean, there's a whole other world that I could be seeing right here, right now, if I just had some accurate perception of maybe if I was using different eyes. That thought is exciting to me. You know, I don't have to go to another place. I don't have to go to another place. I can experience another world, the real world, the happy world, right now. Just by using a different set of eyes. All right. So then it says, we have repeatedly stated that the basic concepts referred to in this course are not matters of degree. And certain fundamental concepts cannot be meaningfully understood in terms of coexisting polarities. What are you saying, Course? That means it is impossible to conceive of light and darkness or everything and nothing as joint possibilities. They are all true or all false. And it is essential that you realize that your behavior will be erratic until a firm commitment to one or the other is made. Okay. All right. So you know that belief system that says that reality is composed of the light and the dark. You ever heard that idea? Reality exists of polarities, the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, the love and the fear, the male and the female. Life is composed, reality is composed of opposites, right? We've all heard that kind of Oriental mysticism or Oriental thought, right? The Course says, no. The Course says the exact opposite. The Course says that reality is not composed of opposites. The Course says that reality is composed of one thing that is the same throughout. There are not opposite and opposing realities within reality. In other words, either light is all true, or darkness or fear is all true. They don't, like, in other words, everything and nothing can't coexist simultaneously. Right? Why? Because they cancel each other out. So, in other words, either all of love is true, or either everything is love, or everything is fear. That's what he's saying. Okay? And that the reason why we have erratic behavior. Does anybody in here besides me have erratic behavior sometimes? Thank you. Okay, so just want to make sure I'm not alone before I sit here and talk about my ego. Right. Okay, so he's telling us the reason why we have erratic behavior is because we are trying to hold two opposite belief systems in our minds at the same time. I'm trying to hold the thought system of everything is love, only love is real in my mind. I'm also trying to hold the thought system that fear is real too in my mind. I'm trying to hold two opposite belief systems in my mind at once. Wow. And so guess what happens to me? My behavior is erratic because in one moment I'm being loving, and the next moment I'm afraid, and the next moment I'm being loving, and the next moment I'm being angry, and the next moment I'm being kind, and the next moment I'm being mean. Right? Why is your behavior so erratic? Well, because I have a split mind. I haven't made up my mind. I haven't made a firm commitment to either love or fear. I haven't made a firm commitment to either. I'm trying to do both. Isn't that nice? I'm trying to do love and fear. But love and fear are completely opposites. So it's like this. Either only love is real and everything else is not real, or only fear is real and everything else is false. So that's what our teacher is saying in this. And that's kind of a radical idea from what we typically hear from even New Age stuff. New Age stuff and Oriental thought, and that's a very different kind of premise, right? Very different. Okay. So I also heard that my behavior will be erratic until I make a firm commitment to one, only one. But then he says, but you can't even make a firm commitment to fear. So good. All right. Then he says, a firm commitment to darkness, which is P.S. nothingness. Isn't that a great definition of darkness? What is the darkness? Oh, nothing. Literally. Oh, what is fear? Nothing. Right? So he says, a firm commitment to darkness or nothingness is impossible. Really? That's good to know. I can't make a firm commitment to fear. I'm so glad. And that's because no one has ever lived who has not experienced light and some, which means some of everything. Aha, isn't that nice? You can't go fully to the dark side. Yay! Good news! Even if you try, you can't go fully onto the dark side. That's good to know. You can't. Why is that? I never heard that before.
Even Darth Vader couldn't fully
That's exactly right. Because, you know, even Darth Vader, when you really got down to it, you know,
Yeah.
was just,
He was a sweetie.
see, he was just calling for love. He
Yeah,
just
love
forgot
song.
he was loved.
Yeah.
He missed his son.
Yeah.
So you can't make a firm, in other words, you can't be all fearful. You can't be all fearful. You can't be all fear. You can't be all guilt. You can't, even if you tried. Did anybody go through a phase in their youth where they were like trying to be all bad?
Yeah.
They were like trying to just like, you know, be all bad, right? He's saying that you can't make a firm commitment to the dark side, which he also calls nothingness. And the reason you can't fully go to the dark or go to the ego is because there's nobody who's ever lived who hasn't experienced some light, some truth. And so even the person who seems to be in the darkest, deepest, you know, muck of it and seems committed to staying there, even they have experienced some light somewhere, somehow, at some time. The light is there, and that light is still there, okay? And he says, this is what makes everyone really unable to deny truth totally. So even Darth Vader couldn't deny the truth totally, right? Or even you in your deepest, darkest madness, sadness, grief, whatever, even you are really unable to deny the truth totally. Nobody can deny love totally. Isn't that good to know? Good to remember when you're looking upon somebody who seems to be trying to deny the love and seems to be trying real hard. And it says, this makes everyone really unable to deny truth totally, even if they generally deceive themselves in their connection. Even if they think they can, they can't. Now that's accurate perception. I know when I'm looking at this person who's twisting in agony, I know that even they cannot deny the truth of their innocence totally. And I know that. Now if I know that when I'm looking at them, then I'm seeing them accurately. If I'm seeing somebody who's dark, they're just dark. Dark in their misery and dark in their hate and dark in their suffering. And they're committed to stay that way. And you say to them, oh, there's a better way. And they go, screw you. Right? But I look at them and I know that there's light in there. I know they are not of the dark. I know light's in there. I know they want truth. I know they know the truth deep down in there. And that's what I remember when I look upon them. That's me having accurate perception about them, even if they're trying to deny that. And then what happens if I look at that person with accurate perception? A miracle. That person who is like twisting in their agony and their madness and their darkness and committed to staying that way, something happens in that moment. Wow.
I find that metaphor of light and dark, I don't think it's an accident. It proves itself if you think about it. Without light bringing into the darkness, you can see no form. You can perceive nothing.
Right.
It really is nothingness without some light to. You can't perceive. You can't. There's no form. There's just nothing without light.
Exactly. There would be no shadows
Yeah.
without light. You know. So thank you. Very nice.
Wow.
All right. And this is why those who live largely in darkness, which means emptiness, never find any lasting solace. That's interesting. Okay, I thought that was an interesting sentence. Those who live largely in darkness and emptiness never find any lasting solace. Why is that? Because you can't be happy in the darkness. You can't be happy in emptiness. You can't be happy in fear. You can't be happy in an ego, fearful isolation. You know, in other words, you can't ever get to the point where you're like, oh, finally I'm alone in the dark. Yeah. Oh, good. Feels so good. You can't, nobody ever gets into the deep depths of darkness and aloneness and goes, yeah, finally. You know? You can't ever be fully satisfied in the darkness and emptiness. Why? Because some part of you remembers the light. Some part of you remembers the love. And some part of them, even though it's teeny little spark in there, some part of you remembers the love and can never forget the light. And so that's why you can't ever be fully satisfied in the darkness or emptiness, right? Because some part of you will always be like, but no, I want love, I want the light, I want truth, I want light, I want love. No matter how much that person is deceiving themselves. Isn't that interesting? This is what accurate perception sees. Even in people who are trying to run to the darkness and who are trying to run to fear and guilt and anger, and they're trying to take comfort in their fear, their anger and guilt, and they're trying to largely live in darkness, right? In fear and guilt and anger, and they're trying to live in that. Even they cannot fully be satisfied in that state, because even they know that even they have the light in them. Even they have seen some light somewhere and still yearn for it. And that's what accurate perception sees. And that's what we're going to be seeing now when we look at somebody who seems really committed to living their life largely in the dark. Right? They are miserable and they like it. You ever met someone who is just miserable and you could tell that they were like committed to it? You say, hey, there's a better way, and they're like, screw you. Right? So that's what accurate perception sees. I love it that he's giving us the accurate perception of the way to see the most distorted, dark, convoluted, frightening things or people accurately, in such a way that it transforms what we look upon.
Are they doing opposites again, like light and dark, and emptiness and wholeness?
Yes.
If it's really empty, it would be nothing.
That's exactly right. Isn't that interesting? Darkness is nothingness. Darkness is emptiness. Another way of saying that is, what's not loving, what's not peaceful, what's not joyous is nothing. It's nowhere. It's nothing. If love and light is everything and everywhere, then when you look at something that seems to be dark, unloving, unhappy, afraid, you are seeing. Now that's deep, but that's what accurate perception sees, right? And accurate perception doesn't use the body's eyes to stop at the outside form of nothing. It goes right through it. It goes, oh, that pain, that anger, that grievance, that's nothing. Love sees that what is not loving and what is not of the light is nothing. It's nothing. And it doesn't waste its time trying to analyze it. Accurate perception doesn't waste its time trying to analyze the form of fear and try to fix it and try to deny it or avoid it or conquer it. That's not what accurate perception does when it sees some version of nothingness, some version of fear. It doesn't try to fix it or conquer it or avoid it. It just sees it as it is and sees that it is nothing. And it sees right through the nothingness to the love behind it. Wow. And that's what I need to, that is what I would like to see now as I'm looking at what's happening in the Middle East. I want to see that, death and devastation as nothing. I want to see it as nothing. Just darkness that is nothing. And I want to see the love that is everything and everywhere in everyone all the time. That's what I want to see. So, show me how to do that, Spirit. All right. Then it says, that's why those who live largely in darkness and emptiness never find any lasting solace. And that's because innocence is not a partial attribute. Innocence is not a real defense until innocence is total. When innocence is partial, innocence is characterized by the same erratic nature that holds for other two-edged defenses. So that's interesting. So he's talking about that innocence is and he goes on to say, innocence means correct perception. Okay, so I'm going to read that again with correct perception. Correct perception or accurate perception, which is innocence. Isn't that interesting? Who are the innocent? Who are the innocent? What is innocence? Well, is it somebody who hasn't reached maturity? Is it somebody who hasn't achieved puberty? Is that what innocence means? Not according to A Course in Miracles. Innocence means accurate perception. Those who see correctly are innocent. They have innocent perception. Wow. And that accurate perception is not a real defense until it's total. And until you have accurate perception, until you see things accurately everywhere, then again, your behavior will be erratic. In other words, until you're seeing the truth everywhere and not just some places, your behavior will be erratic. Then it says this great line that is not in the edited version, and when I read it, you'll see why. It says, the partly innocent, or those who have accurate perception sometimes, they are apt to be quite stupid at times. Hey! This book just said I'm apt to be quite stupid at times. How personally insulting, but how completely obvious. Wow, okay. So he's saying that for you to have accurate perception, then it's something that it would mean you see that you don't make exceptions of where you see the truth, of where you apply the truth. Okay? And he says, why is it that those who partly know the truth are apt to be quite stupid at times? Have you ever heard that saying that a little bit of knowledge is dangerous? I think it's kind of like that. You know, it's like just find somebody who's mostly ignorant, but they've heard a few truths, and then wow. And then, you know, and here they are, they're mostly still ignorant, meaning not knowing the truth, but yet they got a tiny bit of truth, and then they are apt to be quite stupid.
It's like trying to self-diagnose on WebMD.
Exactly. You start acting like you're a doctor.
Yeah.
You start talking like you're a doctor, you know, because you read on the internet
Or like
that...
Wikipedia.
Exactly. Or Wikipedia. Exactly.
Like I know everything on the topic now.
Exactly. So really, somebody who knows a tiny bit of truth, that is somebody who doesn't approach situations like, I don't know. And I'm afraid and angry, so I know I'm not having correct perception, accurate perception, so I don't know, I better be just quiet more, right? But somebody who has a tiny bit of knowledge forgets they don't know anything. And they start telling themselves and believing they know something, even though they completely fail the criteria for knowing something. They completely fail the criteria for real knowledge, meaning accurate perception. Because remember, what's the criteria for accurate perception? What has to be present if you are seeing this situation correctly? Peace, joy, And so if they're in any peace and joy and light, then you aren't seeing things correctly. You don't know anything. But yet, we are taking the tiny little bit of knowledge that we have to tell us, I know something. I know what I'm looking at. Which makes us apt to act quite stupid at times. Wow. So, okay, so what does it mean to act quite stupid? Okay? It's like, to act quite stupid would be, I am completely insane with anger, guilt, or grievances, okay? And, but yet I am telling myself, I know what's going on. I know what I'm seeing. And I'm going to try to correct you. And I'm going to try to convince you that I know what's going on. And then I'm going to attack you for the way you see it. Because I read some books sometimes. Wow. Okay, now would you say that that falls under the category of acting quite stupid at times? Wow. Here you are, no accurate perception. You have the opposite. You ain't seeing it. You have literally like, you know, totally dark glasses on. You're in hell. But yet you're telling everybody the way it is, and you're telling yourself the way it is, and you're fighting with people about the way it is, the way it should be, like you know. But yet you're completely revealing in your attitude and your behavior that you don't have accurate perception at all. You don't know what's going on. You don't know anything. That's what, that's what we go, oh, that person is stupid. And I don't know about you, but I am apt to be just like that. You know, as a matter of fact, the times when I'm most angry is the times I think I'm the most right. Wow. And then I hear this saying, that's what it means to be quite stupid. Wow. But at least now I know what it means to be stupid, so maybe next time while I'm being stupid, I might recognize I'm being stupid. And that would be the end of me being stupid. Okay, so if that's what it means to be stupid at times, then the correction for being stupid would be to go, well, I have totally failed the criteria for accurate perception because I'm in hell and I want to strangle this person. And so I'm not going to sit here and tell myself I know what's going on. I'm not going to sit here and tell myself I know what's happening. I know what they mean. I know why they did that. And I'm going to ask for correct perception. And I'm going to say, love, please, 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 please show me what you see. Please show me this person through your eyes. Please show me myself. Please show me this situation through your eyes, love. And then I won't be stupid anymore. Wow. And that would be a miracle. When I stop being stupid, that's a miracle. Wow. Isn't that interesting? I now have a whole new appreciation of what it means to be stupid.
So it's when it says innocence can't be partial, they're equating it with light and those other things. That, so it doesn't really have an opposite. You can't believe in innocence and guilt.
Exactly.
Either everything and everybody is innocent all the time.
Yes.
Or we are all guilty all the time.
That's exactly
We're back
right.
to nothingness again.
Exactly. And stupidness sees it that I can be sometimes afraid, that sometimes fear can be real, and sometimes it can be not real. Sometimes love can be real. That's what the stupid see. They are partial. The stupid perception is partial. It's partial. I don't see love as real all the time in every situation. In the Middle East, love ain't real. But here, in this, love is real, right? So I have totally partial perception, so I'm partially sane. I have partial accurate perception, which he just said means to be stupid sometimes. I have partial accurate perception because I think love is real here, but not there, right? And it's not making exceptions. Only love is real here, but not there. Only love is real with her, but not him. That is what the Course calls the partly innocent or the partly sane.
Partial is trying to bring nothingness into everything.
Thank you. Trying to bring nothingness into everything. Trying to hold love as real and fear as real at the same time. Trying to hold them both as real at the same time. That is what this calls being stupid.
Do you think we see everything this way because of our split mind?
Yes, exactly.
That's where the opposites came from?
Exactly. We haven't made a firm commitment to either one, right? We want the best of both worlds, honey. Like, I want to have fear on hand for when it's convenient for me, and I would like to have judgment on hand when it works for me. And then I would like to have love and truth and spirituality on the other side for when that works for me. You know, I am trying to keep them both. And it makes my behavior erratic. It makes it so that sometimes my friends and family don't know who's going to meet them at the door when they come to my place. They don't know if they're going to meet angry, grievance, Anna, or loving, oh, only love is real, Anna.
I'd even like to use one to justify the other.
Oh, yes. Wow, isn't that special?
Use my spirituality to justify my anger to justify that.
Well, aren't you just creative in your innocent little stupidity?
Oh, yeah.
I like your type of stupidity.
Oh, yeah.
He's not alone.
No, he's not. No, he's not. And he knows that. That's why he can say it out loud in front of all of us. But, you know, when you say out loud your stupidness, it is the end of your stupidness. Right? Because it gets revealed as what it is. You know, in other words, remember, accurate perception is what cures things. Accurate perception is what makes what's unreal disappear. When I go, this conflict right here cannot be real, it cannot be the truth because only love is real, even if that's not what it looks like to my eyes, that is what makes that form, that fearful form, disappear, according to the Course in Miracles. Wow. When I see it as it is nothing, why? Why is this nothing? Why is the conflict in the Middle East nothing? Why? Because only love is real. Only love is real. Speaking of the Middle East, only love is real. So when the reason that conflict cannot be real, the reason this pain cannot be real, the reason why the fearful, dangerous world cannot be real is because only love is real. Only love lasts. And if it ain't loving and it's not peaceful, then it's not real, which means it can't last. Now, that is accurate perception. And guess what? Accurate perception is not something that comes through these eyes, right? That is not where accurate perception comes from. Accurate perception comes from knowing the truth. And what kind of truth? The universal truth. When you know the universal truth. What's a universal truth? It's the truth that is true for everyone in all space and time. No exceptions. You mean there's a universal truth that applies to everybody? And when you know the universal truth, then that's where accurate perception comes from. Then you won't be fooled by what your body's eyes show you as devastation and war and disease and death. That's what I'm looking for. So accurate perception comes from knowledge of a universal truth. All right. So now, what does it say? It says, the partly innocent, those who have partial correct perception, they are apt to be quite stupid at times. And that's because it's not until their innocence or their correct perception becomes a genuine viewpoint, which is universal in its application, that it becomes wisdom. So just like what we were saying, it's not until your awareness of that universal truth is universal, meaning you apply it to everything and everybody in all space and time. It's not till it's a universal viewpoint that it becomes wisdom. And until then, you just apt to be stupid at times. Okay. Then it says, innocent, which means true perception, means this. What is accurate perception? What is true perception? It means that you never misperceive. What does that mean? It means you always see truly. Gosh, what does it mean to always see truly? What does it mean to never misperceive? More simply, it just means that you never see what doesn't really exist. Wow. That seems really far out, doesn't it? Are you telling me there's a way of seeing where I just don't even see what doesn't exist? Are you trying to tell me there's a way of seeing where I don't even see the fear, I don't even see the hate, I don't even see the death, I don't even see the body? Wow. How would you like some of that? Apart from the fact that it seems totally impossible. Apart from the fact that that seems totally impossible to me, I would like to experience that. I would. And in particular, as these days, and I'm watching the news, and literally, like, I hear all news people on all these channels going, the world is a mess. I mean, the world is on fire. The world is a mess. Literally, that is what that is what the way it appears. And as I'm watching the world just be a mess, like as if the whole world is just devolving into just primitive, horribleness, just primitive fighting, right? As I look on it, it is very painful and it is terrifying to me. And it's mainly terrifying because I'm here and so is my child, right? And the world is smaller now. So what happens in one place, literally, it could be the demise of the whole world, right? With the ingenious weapons we've come up with. So right now, to be told by the truth, to be told by the Course, that there's a way of seeing this world that is a mess. A hot mess. There's a way of seeing it where I don't even see what doesn't exist. I don't even see death. I don't see fear. I don't see separateness. I don't see war. I don't see disease. I don't believe it, but I would like to. And I'm going to try it.
Help me out a little bit. So, but we're not denying that disease exists.
No.
It's not like a Pollyanna rose-colored thing.
Not at all.
That's not what we're talking about.
Not at all. It's what
we're acknowledging, though.
That's right. The Court in the lesson, there's a workbook lesson where he says, I want you to look upon your personal repertoire of horrors, right? So I don't want you to say disease. I want you to say whatever your personal horror is, cancer, Ebola,
Or bombed out homes.
Or bombed out homes, or, whole people being massacred, children being massacred. I mean, he says, it's not that you don't look and you're saying, that is not real, la 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 la, I'll just watch game shows. It's not that at all. The Course says, I want you to look at it, and I want you to say to yourself, God did not create that. God did not create that, and so it is not real. In other words, it can't be real that death and disease and disaster and war is real. It can't be. It's not. Why? Because God didn't create it. That's why. And that's where the Course is 100% radically different than any other thought system I'd ever encountered. Because the Course says God didn't create that. God didn't create that. God didn't create war. God didn't create disease. God didn't create disaster. God didn't create a war where your children could be killed. Or you could be killed. You know, and so what we're seeing, the Course says, is what you are seeing is not real. And there will come a time when you will see accurately, and you will see another world. You will see another world where death is impossible, right? And so, but this is hard, isn't it? You feel that part of you that's like, you feel that part of you that just like doesn't want to hear it. It's hard to hear it. But it's the thing that brings me the most comfort, you know, to look at it and go, God did not create that war. God did not create that child's body lying on the sidewalk that nobody can take and bury because they will get bombed if they even try to, right? God did not create that. And so it is not real. And, okay, so I'm going to say it again.
So like if they believe it, that fear and bombing
And
they're
death
in it,
and disease, right?
and they're in it.
Right.
So that's why we all have to believe it together that only love is real.
That's
for-
exactly right.
For the misperceptions to go away
Exactly. And we have to remember that for them.
for them until they
Just-
know it themselves.
Just like somebody had to remember it for us, right? And so he's saying that if you have accurate perception, then you don't see death and disease and disaster. You don't see them as real. You don't see them as lasting. You don't see them as the truth. You don't see them as the truth. You don't see them as God created them. You don't see them as something God created. So it's not that my body's eyes will stop registering death and disease, right? But I will have accurate perception when I look upon it, and I will know, hey, God didn't do that. That comes from fear. That comes from fear. That's fear. That's fear. That's fear. And fear is not real because only love is real. But that you're seeing is the cost of denying that only love is real. If you want to deny that only love is real, that is what you see. Death and disaster and disease. Right? That's what you see. And
Don't
so...
When the Course says real, it means eternal.
It means lasting,
Yeah,
eternal.
and we try to apply it to temporary things, though,
That's right.
and it cannot be applied.
Mm-hmm.
For something has to be eternal for the Course to call it real.
Exactly. For something to be real,
I think
it has
we get
to
our
be eternal.
definitions
That's
goofed
right.
around there.
Exactly. So it's hard to hear, but what we're being asked to do is, what we're being reminded of is this. If you will look on the death and disease and disaster and the war and your problems with accurate perception, meaning if you will look at them and don't choose to focus on what's not there, what doesn't really exist, which is the fear and the death, then what happens is that you see something else. You have accurate perception and then miracles follow. So that's what we want. You know, what does this war in the Middle East really look like to the eyes of love? You know? It's like that's what we need to be asking for so that we can be miracle workers instead of horrified onlookers. Right? Horrified onlookers who are just contributing to the madness and the pain. Wow.
Well, isn't it us and our investment in things temporary?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see snowflakes and they come down and they turn to snow and the sun hits them and they evaporate.
That's right.
And we don't see that as a terrible big conflict
That's
and
right.
battle.
That's right.
But all these snowflakes are dying.
That's right.
But we've got so ingenious at killing bodies, but
Yes.
nobody has figured out how to kill a soul yet that I've heard about.
Mm-hmm.
They
Right.
keep trying to do it in the movies.
Exactly.
We have to do it in the movies because we can't do it in reality.
Exactly.
But we don't recognize our bodies as just more temporary things that we get all invested in.
Exactly. I mean, that was, thank you for saying that. You know, that was one of the things that I heard Spirit telling me as I was watching the news and was just sick, you know, just like sick, you know, with what I was seeing. And I was like, please show me how this looks like through your eyes, love, truly. How does this look to you? And what I heard was that what I was supposed to see was, what I was supposed to remember when I looked at it is that there is no death. And I was supposed to remember that. There is no death. There is no death. So what I'm seeing is just an illusion of death is real. You know, and it was like, oh, like when I was like looking at it with the intent to remember that they don't die, and they don't die, and they don't die, and they don't die. This is just a dream of death that we're like playing out like stupid little children, right? Then all of a sudden, I didn't have that wrenching, you know, feeling in my gut. It was heartbreaking, really painful. Right? So that was an example of seeing this. So he was saying, okay, accurate perception looks on that and doesn't see what doesn't exist. So I looked at it and I didn't see death. I was like, how can you look on a war zone like that and not see death? Well, because I let the truth remind me of the truth. When, as I was looking on it with my body's eyes, and at the very least, I felt some peace. Now, when I feel peace, when I look upon it, guess what happens? Essentially, I'm projecting my peace into it and upon it. And that's how it gets healed. That's what Spirit was telling me. Have accurate perception. Don't see. Accurate perception does... It says accurate perception means that you never see what doesn't really exist.
Well, that just comes back around to what you said when Mary and all them were, Mary and Martha are all crying because Lazarus
That's right.
dead, but then Jesus did not see death in Lazarus, and that was the lesson there.
That's right, exactly. And that's how he was able to raise the dead. So if I can look on a war zone and not see the dying, not see death, then I am not seeing what doesn't really exist. And then what happens then? Well, then I raise the dead. Or at the very least, I have peace that I can then project onto that situation. You know, and that is how situations get healed. I don't see what doesn't really exist. You know, in our relationships, if I can, what would it mean to not see what doesn't really exist in our relationships? What would that mean? That would mean that in my relationships where I'm tempted to see loss and abandonment and grievances and hurting, I would look into my relationships and I wouldn't see lack. What would happen if you looked into your relationships and didn't see lack? You didn't see what doesn't really exist. What if you looked into your relationships and didn't see the possibility of abandonment or rejection, which doesn't really exist, if only love is real? What would happen then?
Oh, God, you might have peace.
I know. Do you see how it works? Accurate perception looks upon the world and it looks upon the conflict and it doesn't see what doesn't really exist. So now, in my relationships more and more, I just don't see loss. I don't even, in my relationships more and more, I don't even see death. You know, when people around me die, I don't see death. I know that I'm still in communication with them. I'm still talking with them as much as I ever did, mostly more. Because I'm not seeing what doesn't exist. And in my relationships more and more, I'm not seeing a lack that doesn't exist. And I'm not seeing a separateness that doesn't exist. And so more and more, I'm having more and more peace, and I'm being able to see them accurately and have peace and joy more. That's another example of how to have accurate perception, which doesn't see what doesn't really exist. Wow. All right. Is this a good place to stop tonight? I mean, we talked about the Middle East.
I think that next sentence is really.
Okay, great. All right, let's see what that next sentence says. Oh, yeah. Do you see why I wanted to stop on that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I
Michael.
don't really want to do it. But
I see. But God, the Spirit made you. Okay, great sentence. When you lack confidence in what someone will do, here's what you're really doing. You are attesting to your belief that they are not in their right mind. And that's hardly a miracle-based frame of reference, but it also has the disastrous effect of denying the creative power of the miracle. Okay, so that's another example of non-accurate perception in our relationship. So we were just saying, so in your relationships, when you lack confidence in what people will do, what does that mean? That means you are seeing what does not exist. Okay, it's the same thing. You say, I lack confidence in what you're going to do.
when they said they were going to have a truce today,
Yes.
I went right to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you lack confidence,
I lack confidence
in a ceasefire they
in a
said they were going to do
ceasefire.
in the Middle East
Yeah.
today?
I lack
Yes.
confidence
Yes.
in peace.
Yes.
I went right to, okay, that's like 30 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. It maybe.
If maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Exactly. Kind of like we are in our relationships.
Absolutely.
Okay. So when you in your relationships, when you're seeing what doesn't exist, you are lacking confidence in what they are going to do. And so you're not seeing the love that they are, you're only seeing the past in them. You're only seeing what doesn't exist. You're only seeing their fear, which doesn't exist, which isn't real. Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
I've always loved that sentence because that's, when you think about that, that's all trust issues are ever about.
Yeah.
Trust is really me being able to believe and you're going to do this or that.
Exactly.
I'm wanting to make that up to begin with.
So trust issues in relationship really are, I'm choosing not to see your goodness. I'm choosing to see your past.
Yeah.
And so, and then I'm totally shocked and surprised when I see your past. When I see you acting out the past.
I can't
And
believe
that's
you
really
did
about
that.
I
nice
can't
truth.
believe you did that. When really,
I've been sitting around waiting for you to do it.
Yeah.
and then shocked when it did. Right, exactly. So, the accurate perception doesn't see their past. Accurate perception doesn't see a risk. Accurate perception doesn't see that you're vulnerable to their ego. Accurate perception doesn't see what's not, it doesn't see lack, it doesn't see separateness, it doesn't see the possibility of abandonment or rejection. Accurate perception doesn't see what doesn't exist. Wow. And so that's what accurate perception is. I don't see lack or rejection or abandonment because that's impossible. If we're not separate, that's what accurate perception sees. And the accurate perception heals.
So that whole sentence is really about me projecting into the future then, isn't it? If I don't think you're going to do what you want, that means I've looked ahead and said,
That's
well, when you get to this point, you're going to do this instead
Exactly.
of that.
I looked and saw lack. I looked and saw what does it not exist. Made it real. All right, so let's stop here for tonight. Let's do our integration meditation. And in the integration meditation, I'd just like to have us close our eyes for a minute and just kind of let these ideas absorb in a little deeper. All right, so just close your eyes and take a breath and just breathe. And for a moment, let's ask to not see what doesn't exist. I ask to not see anything below. I ask to not see, or let's just more simply say, I ask to see only what's real, only what's there. For a moment, I don't want to see what doesn't exist. For a moment, I don't want to see fear and lack and death and disaster and disease. I just want to see what's really there. And now I want you to bring to your awareness that situation, that conflict that you brought to your awareness earlier. And I want you to now apply that. And it may go something like this. Spirit of love, I ask for accurate perception. I ask to see accurately in this situation for what's really there and what's really going on as you see it, love. I don't want to see anymore what's not real, what's not true. I don't want to see anymore what I wanted to see in there. And so, love, show me this situation through your eyes. Show me what you know is really there and what you know is really happening in that situation. And then let the eyes of love and the mind of love show you what accurate perception sees, what love sees. Love, please show me the deathless behind these scenes of the dying and shattered, slain by fear. Please show me the deathless. Please show me the love that's behind this war. Show me the deathless souls that are behind these dying bodies. And please show me my Savior behind this person who I think is my enemy. Show me my friend behind this person who seems to be attacking me. Show me the love behind this fear. Show me. I ask for correct perception, your perception, love. And then listen and watch to show you, watch for what love shows you. And listen for what love tells you. Listen for love's perception of what you're seeing. And I want you to notice how it feels within you to ask for love to show you what this situation or relationship looks like through its eyes. What does it feel like? What did love show you? And how does it feel to receive love's accurate perception? Whatever love looks upon is healed and returned to wholeness, returned to life. Love, please see me. Love, how do you see me? What do I look like to you, love? Here I am, perceiving myself broken and afraid and unlovable and alone. But how do you see me? How do you see me, God? What do I look like through your eyes? I would have accurate perception of myself. I would have, and I ask for, your perception of me. Don't forget to breathe. And the prayer to love, to show you this situation through its eyes, that prayer will never, ever, 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 ever go unanswered. Love is waiting for you to ask, to see this situation through its eyes. It's just waiting to show it to you through the eyes of love, through the eyes of immortality, through the eyes of truth. And so, Spirit of Truth, help me to remember, to ask, to see everything through your eyes, especially when I'm looking upon something that is terrifying me, or angering me, or hurting me. Help me remember to ask for your sight, your vision of what I'm looking at. Beautiful. And just take another deep breath. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And when you're ready, just come on back. Wow. Thank you guys for helping me to hear that tonight. I really needed another way to look at a world that's just a total hot mess. I really did, and I really needed that. So thank you for being here to help me to say those things so I can hear them and use it. Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. Thank you. All right. And don't forget, all my classes are on YouTube. So don't forget you can tune into them. And don't forget that if you want to just hear me reading the course, if you need some course support, whether it's, some meditation support or some sleep support where you just need to hear the course, you can watch my Lullaby course series on YouTube. Or I'm just reading the course. Okay? Thank you guys. Thank you.